And an honor to stand before you today and present our session titled Streams of Solidarity, a virtual exploration of shared water resources, where we will be showcasing two of IWMI's work in progress virtual field trip projects that utilize virtual reality VR technologies to offer interactive and immersive virtual experiences in the realm of water management. I'm just going to take you through a brief outline of the agenda of this session. Firstly, we will introduce IWMI and the various initiatives that are involved in the development of the virtual field trip projects, as well as provide more background and context into what they actually entail and outline the purpose of the session. Then we'll go into a showcase of two VR projects that are currently in development, one which focuses on drip irrigation systems in Makonde in Zimbabwe, and the second one is showcasing the weir located in Olifants River in the Limpopo River Basin region in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first speaker and also the moderator of the session, Ms. Nora Hanke-Louw, who is from IWMI South Africa. She is the Deputy Country Representative and Project Coordinator. Over to you, Nora.
Thank you very much. I must say, it's been very exciting to have so much private sector voices, quite unusual for the CG, I think. So I hope we can be in the same spirit, although we are more from the research perspective. So just want to introduce IWMI for those who are maybe not so familiar. Obviously, I think our CG colleagues but we are a research for transformation institute, particularly in the water sector. And we work in the water systems space that makes up the CG. And obviously we work in the agricultural sector. So it's really around reducing poverty and hunger. Racing through this presentation, happy to answer any questions afterwards. We have 3 initiatives which are involved in this particular project, and I just want to give a bit of an overview. So Ukama Ustawi is the regional integrated initiative for East and Southern Africa, and we work across 12 countries. We work towards a diversification of maize-based systems. That's really our end goal. It is IWMI-led, but Evan, who's also going to speak later, maybe you can quickly wave. He is the co-lead from the Alliance. So really happy that we can bring the different centers together. All right, then we have digital innovation. Digital innovation is very much also involved in the ICTforAg, but it's an initiative that speaks to bridging the digital divide, tackling the inadequate information that was also mentioned earlier, data, as well as the limited capabilities that was also already mentioned on various panels and by speakers. And Felix Oppola, my colleague from IWMI South Africa, he's actually has a session this afternoon where he's also from that initiative and will speak to one of their outputs. That is very interesting, and I would encourage everyone to join. All right, then we finally have Fragility, Climate and Migration. And this is really around increasing resilience in fragile and conflict-affected situations where climate change is obviously we know climate change affects mostly the most vulnerable. In fragile and conflict situations, people are very hard to reach, very hard to see, but are obviously one of the most affected populations. So it works based on 4 pillars. I'm not going to go through all of this, but it's anticipation, it's bridging, it's stabilizing, and it is to accelerate. And just want to go into why virtual tours, right? And I think also some of the speakers are going to allude to this, but we're showcasing 2, and I want to make it clear this is very much the pilot. This is version 1 of 3, and you we're going to take you on a journey, and hopefully you'll be part of our journey. We are also here. Yes, I did practice that. We're really hoping to get feedback, right, from you. So that's part of why we are here, as part of our research and iteration process. I work with game developers, and game developers, they throw out all the time their whatever they have, even if it's not a fully thought through thing. I think in the CG, we come with a fully thought through research. At the end of the day, this is a very different process, and we hope you guys will give us the feedback we need. And for me, there's sort of 3 parts of where we see the VR tours fitting in. Monitoring and evaluation, right? Actually being able to monitor the impact of the work we do over time and showcasing this. The other one is communication. So communication with donors as well as with other partners, particularly in fragile environments. It's very hard to get partners. They are all other researchers, right? The third one is the operational part. So one is, can be used for capacity building. And I think Evan will also speak a little about this, as well as the digital twin that's being developed. Can we actually, in the models that we use, clarify a lot more what that means by showcasing it in a different way? All right, that is what I wanted to say. I think I'll hand over to you to introduce the tours. Thank you. Enjoy.
Thank you so much, Nora, for offering insights on IWMI as a research for development organization and the various initiatives that are involved in developing the VR virtual field trip projects. Now, I would like to invite my colleague, Dr. Mitchell McTuff, to walk us through 2 virtual field trip projects, the WIA, which is based in the Olifants River in the Limpopo River Basin region in South Africa, as I've mentioned, and another which will be on drip irrigation systems in Makonde, Zimbabwe. He will just walk through and demo the virtual field trip so that we can all gain an understanding on how it works, and what he sees in the headset will be showcased on the screen for us all to follow. Thank you.
Yeah, super. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning to those maybe who are online. So yes, I'm going to walk us through the VR experience in the virtual field trips using a Oculus Quest headset. So bear with me as I get it all set up, and you'll be able to see some of our demonstration sites on the screen. So give me a few ticks, and if anyone's noticing that I'm sort of stumbling, catch me. But otherwise, here we go. I'm going in, as they say. So I can see my area. I can see around. So it gives you an opportunity to sort of see the area around you, so I can actually walk around. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to connect to the screen. I hope I'm providing enough entertainment here. So that should be too much. There we are. Cast. I'm going to cast onto our computer. There we go. So should be casting.
Yeah.
You guys can see everything?
Not yet.
Loading.
No, it's loading up. Okay.
Yeah.
Are we up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can see. Can you see yourselves in the room now? Good? No? Okay, but you can see the screen?
Yeah.
Super. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll probably take a seat here so I don't lose my balance. And we're going to go. I'm just about okay at the minute. If I go, catch me. All right, so can you see this? Yeah?
It's just online.
Yeah. Sure.
Just give it a minute. We can, this needs to stream. This needs to stream on Matt. All right. Yeah, cool.
It's
Good to
coming?
go.
All right, so it's just a bit of lag, that's okay. There's about 4 devices linking up here. So, right, so we're going to start by going into one of the sites that we work in. And I'm just going to start here.
Just make it big.
Yep.
In 2023, the CGIAR Initiative for Diversification in East and Southern Africa, popular.
Let's just pause that for a second. So I'm just going to go in. So I'm just going to set up the check. Can we move this over to the circle there? We'll do it. It's fine. I can pretty much. So you guys can see me. Can you see the screen still? Yeah. All right. So we can set a boundary. So I'm working on the internet speed as well here. So bear with me. Is there lag on the computer?
Not much.
Not much. Okay. Just lagging on here. Okay, just bear with us as we wait for the web to. Okay.
I think he's disconnected.
I'm just going to disconnect.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just buffering, which means that there's maybe something wrong with the Wi-Fi or the connection up there. Give us a second. Okay, we're just coming back online, guys. Excuse me. It's just buffering, so I'm not sure if it's. Okay, so right, let's just go back to casting. Cast. Your headset. Okay, it's a connection thing.
Yeah, it's coming up.
It's coming up.
I mean, at least I can see.
Yeah, so we're casting. Yeah. We
No,
are?
not yet. Not yet. Hold on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're casting.
Okay. All right. So what I'll do is I'll probably just stand to walk through this. I'll be okay. So we're going to enter the VR, right? I'll confirm a boundary. I'll create a new boundary over here. All righty. And confirm. And we'll just draw a room, if you don't mind. Casting stopped again. Just 1 minute, if you don't mind moving out of the way around. I'm just going to use this space here. All right. So confirm. Yep. Can you guys see again?
Casting stopped.
All righty. Up again?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, just bear with me. Let's just go back in.
I'm sure there's only one.
Yep.
Who? Ah, there we go.
You're coming.
We're back in again?
Yeah.
Okay, can you guys see everything? Yeah? Okay, sorry guys. As you know, buffering and then now going into the sites. So we're able to move through each of these sites. And so as you can see right now, we're on one of the farmsteads, and the intention is to be able to move and navigate through the different settings. So it'll play.
In 2023, the CGIAR Initiative
we lost,
for Diversification in East and Southern Africa, popularly known as IWMI, led by
No.
the International
All right.
Water Management Institute, IWMI, embarked on
We'll reload that. Excuse me. You guys can see the screen?
in 2023.
Yep. So
the
we're just going to
CGIAR
navigate like this.
Initiative for
Is that clear?
Diversification in East and Southern
Okay.
Africa, popularly known as IWMI, led by the International Water Management Institute, IWMI, embarked on livelihood improvement exercise that involved developing smallholder solar irrigation systems in target rural sites in Zimbabwe. Standalone solar pumps have proven to be key investments that lead to improved food production, food security, and ultimately poverty reduction.
Okay, I'll just stop there, real brief. And then so what you can do with the sites as you're moving around is you're able to sort of go to a specific spot and then click and access a location and have a photo come up. So if you're with a group of farmers or you're conducting training, or you'd want to communicate this to partners, donors, or collaborators, you're able to go to specific points and navigate around that farm. So here we have another example, another shot from the same place. And then if we want to sort of see a specific technology that's being used here, if it's solar irrigation, we can then see that example here and demonstrate it. A lot of these sites are inaccessible. In the case of Ethiopia, a lot of our projects are now inaccessible to humanitarian partners and researchers, our researchers as well. So this proves to be very useful, but it also allows for the extension of knowledge and transfer where we wouldn't otherwise be able to bring farmers together. So I'll move ahead and we'll go to, say, for example, the farm overview. For the interest of time. Now you can see if we want to demonstrate something through a little bit more interaction, we can click on, say, for example, a video, and this will load up. And here we've got Nicole, who's conducted an interview in the field, but this can be used for multiple purposes, showcasing various activities that are being conducted, but all set within the farm environment. So I'll skip ahead. We won't listen to all of this, and you might not be able to get the audio picking up, but that's okay. And that's just maybe a technical issue on this side, but that's fine. So again, we can go into the farm and we can get closer as we want. Now, this is the example from Zimbabwe on the irrigation systems. What I'm going to now show you is we'll just go on to the Oliphant's Weir system. And I'm going to try going back in to the virtual field trip and the VR, using VR. Again, this can be used on mobile as well as browsers, so it doesn't have to be using a headset. So we'll just go on to the Limpopo River Basin.
The Limpopo River Basin that drains parts of Botswana, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and Mozambique supports around 18 million people, most of whom live to a greater or lesser degree in association with the water resources of the basin, whether it be the water they draw from their taps, or the water used for food production, for livestock, or for many other uses.
All ecosystems provide benefits to society. In the case of the Limpopo Basin, the diverse river-related ecosystems have been shown to sustain millions of people through numerous ecosystem services that benefit people ranging from food production, fish, irrigation, spiritual and medicinal uses, recycling of nutrients, and purification of human waste, and more.
Final thoughts on the Oliphants River.
The Oliphants River is one of South Africa's most important river ecosystems. It's very important for people because it's one of the rivers that we use for mining industries. We abstract water for mines, we abstract water for industries, we abstract water for human communities. And very importantly, the Oliphants River, as you can see from this picture in the Kruger National Park, has a very high biological diversity. It is very important from an ecological perspective, and it is a river.
Okay, we'll jump ahead.
Why will the digital twin be helpful for water management decisions in maintaining our river ecosystem?
So one of the major challenges that we face with water resources management is our ability to allow stakeholders to understand not only the dynamism of the ecosystem itself, but what people do, how people contribute to the threats and the stresses that rivers face. So the digital twin and our ability to allow stakeholders to see the environment, to understand the variability of the environment, to get an idea of what could be in the environment and how people are affecting what is in the environment, and finally how we need to contribute or work towards.
What is the gauge station, or we're used for?
Water resources. That is our ability.
So this is just to demonstrate how it can be used with communicating the setting through voiceover, and actually get closer to the site. So if you're not able to get there, then you're actually able to get right to this point through a virtual reality experience.
Why is it important to estimate environmental flows at the Balula site?
As lower down in the Oliphants River, the representation of that site is appropriate, which is representative of the whole reach. So if you want to know,
what is the function of the fish ladder or fish track?
So we'll just come out of that and let's try to, there we go. Yep. Okay, so that's just to give you an example, and to show the extent to which you can go into a site just using virtual reality. And actually looking at the screen now, it's a lot more clear on the big screen than it is under the VR, which shows for the browser as well as the mobile applications, it'll probably be just as good as you're seeing it there or better. So would we like to bring somebody up to...
Thank you so much for that demonstration, Mitch. We'd now like to call a volunteer from the audience
Would anyone like
who
to
would
experience
like
that?
to experience either of the the virtual field trips that we have just showcased. Any volunteers?
Anyone? No?
Oh,
Oh, we've
Yes.
got, oh,
Oh.
well, now the hands are popping up everywhere. We got a hand come up over there real quick. So if you'd like to come on over, what I'll do is, because I've set a boundary over here, I'm gonna just hold your shoulders if you don't mind, yeah? Just to make sure you don't get too uncomfortable. So come on over here. What's your name, sorry?
Ibrahim.
Ibrahim Mitch, yeah, good to meet you. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll pop this on your head, yeah? So if you can just take that, pop it over. Tell me if it's comfortable. We good?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, so here you go. If you wanna just, you can use these to sort of navigate and click on things. So so pointers, can you see the pointers?
Yeah.
Yeah, so click on something maybe. So have a look around. Maybe have a look around this way. Yeah, maybe turn this way. So what you can see things are, within the weir, right? And this can also help, extension services come in and interpret a situation and go back to, create new iterations of whatever systems being put into place, or to showcase to farmers on the ground in other contexts where we wouldn't be able to bring those farmers together, how a new innovation can work, right? So there are use cases, and it's important to build on that. And as Nora had highlighted, this is an iterative process, and it does, as you can see, allow you to get to a place without actually having to be there, right? So Ibrahim, how's that feel? Realistic enough, right? Okay, so we'll pull you out of this virtual world so that you don't get stuck there. An inception scenario. Okay, great, thanks so much. A round of applause for Ibrahim there, cheers, thank you.
thank you so much. We'd like to invite one more volunteer
One more.
for the drip irrigation system VFT.
Yeah, okay, one more, just we'll go through it for a minute. Yeah, the lady at the back there, coming up. Please, thanks. Yeah, and if we just wipe this now. Super, thanks.
Is it going to be too complicated to change to the other one?
I can do it real quick now. Yeah. All right, I'm just going to change up and we're going to go into the other site for you. Yeah, and I'll pop this on your head. So just give me a second. I'm just going to drop us out of this this site, and we'll go into the next site. Just give me a second. One tick, and we will come into this one here. What we'll do for you is we'll actually go into the VR experience. And so, okay, so now we're on the VR experience. All right, Nicole, do you mind just wiping that real quick? Super, okay, right. So come on over where I am stood, and then just pop that over your head. Okay. Yeah, and then let me know how comfortable you are. Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Irene.
Irene, good to meet you. Irene. So if you'd just like to hold this in that hand, right, and that in that hand. And now I'm just gonna, if you don't mind, hold your shoulders just in case, yeah? So now you can just steer around, so look around, sort of, you can turn behind, yep, have a look, yep. So you can sort of see the farm, right?
Yeah.
And now you can see a next site you can go to. Why don't you try clicking on that?
There we go.
Yep, okay. So now this may have taken us out, and again,
Oh, no.
all an iteration. But Irene, right? Yeah, you've done a great job. Thank you so much. We've lost you in the inception. So, but you get the point, right? And the case use here. Thanks so much, Irene. Round of applause for Irene there. Cheers. Okay, so back over to you, Nicole. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Mitch, and to our volunteers. Now we will swiftly move along to an open discussion, which will be facilitated by Ms. Nora Hanke-Louw with Dr. Evan Gervitz. I'd like to open the chat for any questions, as well as in the room if you have any, because After a brief Q&A session, we'll open up the floor for any questions. Thank you. Over to you, Nora.
Yeah. Okay, so it would be great if we get questions. Are we back up with the presentation? All right. So Evan and I work together very closely. I'm so honored to have you here. He's based in Nairobi for the Alliance. He is the principal scientist of climate action, and as I said earlier, also the co-lead for the regional integrated initiative Ukama Ustawi. So that you don't just hear from us, I thought we'd ask Evan, maybe I should also say in Ukama Ustawi you lead the work package that actually deals with information dissemination and sort of the technology package, as I call it in my head. So I think definitely interesting perspective. So maybe you can just introduce yourself, your interest in VR, and how you can see it being used in future in the CG environment. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Nora. Exciting to see all this cutting edge work that's being done. Again, my name is Evan Gervets. I work for the Alliance of Biodiversity International in Seattle, based here on the ILRI campus, but the co-lead for the Ukama Ustawi initiative that Nora was just mentioning. And I mean, I'm very interested in this because I see this as part of the cutting edge of agricultural development. I mean, I think this conference here is really speaking to the directions that we need to be going. Certainly, there's many different aspects beyond the ICT, but I think this is an important part, as I see, of the future of agriculture here in Africa, where I work a lot, and globally in the developing, certainly in the developed world, but very much in the developing world too. I reflect back that it wasn't many years ago when we were talking about smallholder farmers not having access to mobile phones and these type of technologies. And here we are today with the amount of mobile phone penetration we have. I'm not sure if every farmer is going to have a VR device like this, but actually I think it may not be too far down the road where they could have access to these in some ways. And so I'm very interested in how we can be leveraging these kind of technologies and doing research now on how we can be using, how we should be using, and maybe how we shouldn't be using these kind of new emerging technologies to help support smallholder farmers and the work that we do in agricultural development. In Ukama Ustawi in particular, this is the regional initiative for East and Southern Africa that I co-lead with IWMI, Inga Jacobs-Mata, who can't join us here today, but also that Nora is a part of. And we've been, this brings together the CGIAR here in East and Southern Africa to diversify and de-risk the agricultural systems here, sustainably intensify them, and integrate together different aspects of agronomy, of markets, of digital, of gender, of policy. And one of the things that we found with the amount of work we're doing here in the region is that it's hard to communicate all of that to our donors, to our partners. And so we've been doing virtual field tours, since we can't get everybody who's a part of this, of our partners and of our donors, say out to rural Zimbabwe, out to rural Ethiopia, rural Kenya here. And so these are ways, these virtual field tours are ways that we can go get out into the field and show what's happening on the ground to our donors. One of our big donors is from New Zealand, and they don't come here very often. They did come, they actually did take a month to get out in the field, but that was a big investment for them. I think it's important that they do that, but it was many years since even the last woman who just came had been, I think, 3-4 years since she had come from New Zealand. So to be able to show what we're doing out in the field to the donors and sort of managing up is one of the ways that we see we're using it. It's also a way that we can better engage our partners, that in these projects, we have many different aspects. We were working with agribusiness on the one hand, we're working with extension officers, we're working with farmers, policymakers, how they can understand what's going on out in the field, how a policymaker, say sitting in Nairobi, can understand what we're doing in the project out in the field and really see that, feel it with their hands, like was just being demonstrated here. So I think this is a very cost-effective way that we can be bringing to life the work that we're doing out in the field. It's not the same as touching it, I know, but it's definitely a step forward in how we can be using technologies and something that we can be added to it. It's also time efficient, I think, that rather than somebody having to fly from New Zealand to see what's going on in the field, that they can be sitting in their office in New Zealand and be at least getting very much a sense of what's going on out there in the field. So again, really bringing it to life. How I think we can be using it more, already starting to, but how we can be using it more. certainly these kind of innovative communications that Nora was mentioning, and in the way I'm just saying here. But I think going beyond that, and we can be innovating, I think, in how we use it in different ways. But I think beyond that, also as Nora was mentioning on capacity building, I think is very important. In Ukamustawi, we're working with the Shamba Shape Up TV show. I see David and Patricia here from Media Eye who produced the Shamba Shape Up TV show. And to me, there's a great a means to educate, to train farmers about this. More than 8 million people a week watch the TV show here in Kenya. But imagine being able to link that together with a virtual reality. So after somebody sees a TV show, if they have access to one of these devices, they could actually be experiencing it more sort of in this virtual reality environment rather than just watching on TV. So putting these kind of things together. And I wonder if we could also be then bringing this to, say, an agrovet. And I've seen agrovets that put the Shamba Shape Up TV show on as a way to bring people into the agrovet, learn a bit about different kinds of good management practices and technologies. And then imagine them putting on one of these virtual reality things, which actually may not be that hard to do with. I mean, they're not so expensive. The cost is coming down. It's not a farmer, but it's at an agrovet, say, and they could be really experiencing this and learning about. And then we've also been doing some work on then how that can be used then to help them decide what kinds of inputs they should be buying, what kinds of things they should be buying there at the agrovet. And so tying these things together to really the commercialization of these agrovets in these kind of ways. I also wonder if it could be used more in terms of higher education. We've been through our engagements with universities here in Kenya, developing university curriculum on climate smart agriculture. And so they're there in the classroom learning, but could we be bringing the field to them? And they can go out to the field certainly, but could we be bringing the field to them through virtual reality? And one thing we've been doing also through this is testing out gamification, developing a simulation video game to teach university students, or we've been testing with university students, for example, on conservation agriculture. So they go through the simulation video game. It's built on the Epic Real Engine. So this is a real 3D design of video game with Usiku Games here in Nairobi that the developer. But then can we be linking that somehow into the virtual reality? So as students are learning, say, about conservation agriculture, they have a virtual reality environment that has some sort of gamification to it. And then also linking that could also happen in the agrovet, where somebody comes in the agrovet, same kind of thing, a farmer, say, and it gamifies a bit for them how they are learning about what they should be doing in these kind of ways. And then we're also testing this video game with farmers. We're working with Kuza here, one of the sponsors, Kuza Biashara, and that we'll be deploying this shortly, of testing this kind of simulation video game with farmers. But then can we bring a virtual reality environment to that, either through the game or just through the kind of trainings that Kuza, say Digital Green, I know also, these kind of organizations that are farmer facing, they're out there showing videos, engaging farmers in different ways through groups or through agropreneurs. And could we be bringing this kind of virtual reality to farmers through that? And so I actually think it's not so far that we would be able to do that. And then finally, I'll just say on the M&E piece that I think this is actually about Jan Willem here from eProd and the kind of sort of tracing that is done and value chain kind of tracking that is done. And could we be putting somehow virtual reality out there where somebody maybe doesn't need to go out and actually see something on the ground to see if it is actually being done in the right way through certification and through this kind of tracing, but could virtual reality be used in that kind of way where somebody can be sitting out somewhere else, but actually be seeing what's happening on the ground? I think of the picture-based insurance as one of these kind that's been done with the picture, but could we be bringing virtual reality to this? So I know our time is short. I'll keep my remarks short. Clearly, I'm excited about the subject. I think there's so much we can do, but I look forward to the discussions that we could have on where we can take this.
Thank you so much, Evans. Now I'd like to present two questions that were put forward by our online participants. The first is more of a remark, and it reads, VR is a great technology, but UX needs to simplify a lot, still not ready for mainstream usage because of UX, meaning user experience, and cost. Would you like to respond?
I think that's for me to respond as the owner of Okay, so firstly, I think we have to be quite clear that we actually developed this in mind, not with the VR headset. So the VR headset is sort of the nice gamified part of it. But actually, in the PowerPoint, which I'm sure will be shared, the link takes you very much to a desktop and mobile phone. I actually, on your mobile phone, you have it, you turn and you see it. So it is with that in mind. So that's one thing. So I do think the user experience is improving. This is also, as I said, version 1. I think there is also testing it out here and showcasing it for the first time. Definitely also show me that there are certain things we have to take back to the consultant and improve. For example, that you actually see like, hey, what maybe is this video about? So instead of just wasting your data, you actually know before you go in. Little things that can be, I think, very simply improve the user experience. Next question.
Thank you so much, Nora. And the last question from our online participants is, what are the key benefits of integrating VR into our current workflows?
I think Evan responded to this. I don't know if you have anything to add. For me, yeah, I feel like you addressed this quite extensively.
Yeah. No, I don't think I would say much more, just that I think it's really something we have a lot of work to do. And maybe, as I mentioned in the beginning, I think it's important to see how we can best be using these kind of technologies, virtual reality, but maybe how we shouldn't also, and what are some of the implications of this as we think about, say, social equity, gender, many different aspects that can come in, that I think it's important we bring this into our workflows, but also think about the implications of it in different ways and how we can do it in a responsible way and a most effective way for our beneficiaries.
Thanks, Evan. I think that's all probably we have time for, but I want to just give a chance to the room. If anyone has, immediately a hand is up. This man is burning, sitting. If there is, okay, 2, that's it. We did start a bit late, so, we need a bit. Can you, there's microphones on the table, I believe. So if you could use them, that's probably the easiest. I'm going to get all 3 questions at once, just for the sake of time. And if you could cut to the question point. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much. I can see a very great potential with VR. But you mentioned while making presentation that some of the sites might not be accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the question is, how do you collect this imagery or data to then transform to something that can be viewed virtually, and how are you managing this real time if I want to update? So I'd like to know that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, next question was over there. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Moses. We work with, I come from an organization called CGIAR Africa. We work with breeders and farmers in the region to improve their genetic gain using molecular markers. So most of our farmers or breeders are doing trials in the field, and they are doing trials in multiple locations. So I want to know, in terms of accessibility to some of the VR technology, how can such people be able to access this technology to start being able to use VR to do the trials or to assess some of their trials they are doing in the field? Thank you.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. My name is Henry Mibe. I do work for Kabi.
Hi, Henry.
Good. So my question is on the update of the content that you do upload to the VR, and also in terms of the cost. I think I would like you to at least highlight the costs that you would incur in providing trainings on the virtual reality compared to the traditional cost. Please shed more light. Thank you.
Okay, let me start from question number 1. Access, there's obviously a whole lot of, how do you update? So we bought the camera. We are planning to have more of the cameras, and to be frank, I think that people overestimate how much it is. I can disclose it's $850 for one of the cameras we use. One of the reasons it was so pixelated here is also because the internet isn't great. So the quality is higher with better internet. And then once you have the equipment, and obviously with all of these things, sky's the limit. You can also pay $15,000 for a camera. So the way we are hoping to roll it out is to have more offices with the actual equipment. And as researchers go into the field, they actually just take the camera with them. right? And also update, because a lot of our researchers, they go every season or even twice a year, or, you know, a different project starts that has a similar angle and they can recollect the data. So that's how we are planning to roll it out. That's our way of scaling it, essentially. So what we have been doing internally is having workshops to actually train people of how to do it, you know, and that's obviously a continuous process as we, you know, this is only the first two. So a lot of learning has already happened of how to improve the storytelling, how to train people, the sort of things that you don't think people need to know before they go. So that's how we are doing it. Then in terms of the farmers, I mean, as I said, so it is accessible on mobile phones. In terms of training and how we would roll it out, so at the moment we are very much in the, you know, what story do we want to tell? I think the training is a different aspect, and we certainly haven't done a cost-benefit analysis. However, each tour, you know, costs us about $1,000 to put online. That excludes obviously now the time people have to put into to think about it. So the actual production cost sort of decreases with every time, you know, you go into the field, because these things are actually on platforms that are designed for construction companies for monitoring, or alternatively for companies that do property inspections, right? So you want to walk through a property. So they are mass production. So that's our approach. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nora. Now I'd like to quickly invite Mitch to speak on IWMI's virtual field trip projects in fragility and conflict-affected settings, and IWMI's plans with its upcoming VR VFT projects.
Okay, yeah. So I've introduced myself. I'd like to not go into sort of the background on VFTs and just sort of highlight to you where we look at this going. So, you know, really, this becomes an important issue in terms of how we can improve accessing individuals in hard to reach environments, complex environments, fragile and conflict affected settings, where agriculture, you know, vegetable drip irrigation is being implemented, vegetable production irrigation is also being implemented. So we need to start to look at the message that a food secure world, right, is only really possible within a water secure world. So when we start to see this in the space of water management for ag, we need to start to think about it as a message that's really gaining urgency. A lot of people who are in displacement, the figure now stands at about 112 million plus. These are individuals who are often finding themselves in displacement, protracted displacement for over 17 years, right? So this sort of work is really important in fragile and conflict affected settings. Now, I want to jump ahead with regards to sort of some of the examples, but I want to touch on the matter of you know, maintaining ethical standards with use of VFTs. Of course, we're going into communities that are often vulnerable, and so, you know, acknowledging the humanitarian principles, whether that's the 4 or the 33, ensuring we don't do any further harm, but in particular that there is fidelity in our work. We're really showing what is happening on the ground. You know, we're not talking about misrepresenting through capturing only one part of it, right? We really want to showcase what's really going on, but also to ensure that there's veracity, so there's truth behind the work that we're doing, and we're giving access to the community to be able to speak. And so using dynamic authorization, so where we see iterations of content coming from the field, it also has to align to you know, changes within the community and their feedback into and the users into the technology we're using. So I'd like to. Yeah, so I'd just like to touch on one example real quick of a case in southern Iraq where we had a farmer who had basically been using groundwater but wasn't able to access the water needs during the dry season. And we were then able to introduce a project using solar irrigation. This increased his crop yield by approximately crop and water productivity by 25%. Now, through that technology, if we're able to capture VFTs, we're able to go with that technology and showcase it to other environments. And this is where I also see a use case. We can't get there as researchers, and humanitarians also can't access this site anymore. But we can, if we're able to use individuals with cameras to capture that and then display it on a VFT setting, we can also showcase this to other environments as well as our donors. So I'd like to stop there. We're out of time.
Thank you so much. I'd like to invite you all to just take a snapshot of the QR code displayed on the screen. And here it will take you to the home page of our VR projects. And you can choose which VFT you would like to explore. And lastly, I'd also like to invite you to take a picture of the QR code displayed on the screen for our survey, where we get feedback from users to obviously improve our virtual field trips as we go. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and enjoy your lunch.
You know, in the case of water, there is water use efficiency. We must give it to IWMI. They have introduced time use efficiency. They used every last second of the allocated time. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Now, quickly, we all break for lunch. Quick directions. You just step through the door, walk to your right. There are some tents set up. That's where we're all going to have lunch. And once you come back here, this room is going to look different because you see this, there'll be a partition. So this is going to be breakout room 1. This is going to be breakout room 2. And I'd really like to emphasize that, you know, there is a small change in the logistics. The third breakout room we have listed as Endama Lounge. It is not Endama Lounge. It is room number 720. Okay. We are all around here. In case you need any direction, feel free to ask any one of us, either me, Kanika, Rakshata, or any of the team. And now we also requested you for your preferences on which of the breakout sessions each of you would like to attend. So there is a small color coding on your badge, as you can see on the screen, which goes to which room, Kanika. So the badges with the green go to VA1, which is here to my right. The badges, the badges with the dark green go to VA2, which is to my left. And it's okay. The one which is the yellow, is it? No, the one which is the blue with all the mosaic around, that's going to room number 720, right? Enjoy your lunch. Thanks a lot.